little portion of the negative results, the middle ground results on interracial dating. And I'm going to let you hear one commentator as
Honestly,
she speaks more on it.
Get arrested,
and I'll
they do not
get
want
back
you to know
at
this,
the end of my
okay?
video. And I'm going to show you some couples that are sort of together and what they went through.
COVID times. We're not in COVID anymore. I hope you're having a great day. Thank you for your support. Thank you for subscribing to the channel. Thank you for your thumbs up, for your comments, and thank you for sharing the videos. Thank you for all you do to support the channel. And yes, we are commanded to love one another, whether we want to or not, or whether we agree with each other or not. I saw this on my Twitter page today, and I really didn't know what to make of it. This is a book entitled Stay Away from Sneaky Snow Bunnies, and the caption says, Black author writes a children's book titled Stay Away from Sneaky Snow Bunnies. Would you read this to your child? Now that is a very good question. We know that the term snow bunnies refers to white women, and specifically white women who date and marry black men that have come into some kind of wealth, and they're coming into that relationship for financial gain. And this is also embedded in the idea that many black men have a kind of self-hating aspect of their personality. They don't like themselves, and they don't like the women that reflect them. Now that is what some people think. And when they get money, they realize that fantasy of being with a white woman. So in some corners of our community, white women are looked upon as gold diggers and enemies of the black family.
Weird how we hit 2,500 points so fast. Dude, what's...
And some black men, especially Dr. Umar Johnson, who's against interracial marriage, calls them snow bunnies. So we kind of know the history of this. But the question in the title is, would you read this book to your child? Now, I haven't read the book, but just looking at the title, I don't think I would. I don't believe I would read a book to my child that said, stay away from snow bunnies. And this is really kind of an offensive term. White women are white women. They're not snow bunnies. Now, if you have a reason why you don't want your child, your son, let's just stick with boys for the moment. If you don't want them to date outside of their race, you need to give them some real reasons why you don't want them to date outside their race. I happen to know that white people tell their children that they want to keep their race pure. Now, I don't know about other races, but I know that they tell their children that because I've heard them say that to me. We are pure. That's what they would say, they're pure, which I never believe that, because you can't know. There's no way you can know that, but that's what they will say. And they don't feel guilty about it, and they don't think they're being racist. But they would tell their children that we want to keep our race pure. Add to that the fact that many people in the world see our blackness as a stigma, even to say that we're cursed. So that's something to unpack all by itself. And even if a person is attracted to you, they may not say that to you in the beginning of that relationship. But if you get deep into that relationship, all of that stuff might come out in a very hurtful and painful way. I would bring out statistics on the long-term predictions of those relationships, but more importantly, how the children are affected. Children of biracial parents, especially a white mom and a black father, have a hard time adjusting in society. Many times they do not want to be black. Many times they don't even look black, but people are telling them that they're black, and they don't even know how to navigate in that society. And then the chances of them staying together long enough for those children to reach adulthood are slim, just being factual. So all of that needs to be taken into consideration when you're considering marrying outside your race. You can get divorced inside your race when you're married to someone of your own ethnicity, but still those children know where they belong. They know they belong in the black race. But when you go out there and procreate with somebody from another race, those children may not look like they belong to either race, and that is a problem for those children. And for that reason, it makes sense to bond with somebody who has a similar experience and a similar culture, and that way you can work through it together. That's what I would say to my son. I would not disparage the white woman just for being white, because the white woman really might be a very nice person. I mean, the white women or the white woman that he met might be very nice, but she still brings that culture with her too. So you're actually trying to mix race and culture, and that's very difficult. And those relationships have the greatest failure rate, especially with black men and white women. But interracial relationships have a high failure rate. They are hard to maintain over time. I would also hope that my son would have the intelligence to understand that black people in America cannot operate as individuals and be successful. We are better as a group. As goes one, so goes the group. Those of us who are old enough to remember the O.J. Simpson situation can attest to the fact that all of us were treated as if we had deleted those two people. And O.J. Simpson had divested from the black community as far as I could tell. But when those two people came up missing, they threw him back to us. And the white folk were mad all over this country at black people, not just O.J. Simpson. And the rest of us didn't even know him or the woman. But the point is that we get convicted for what somebody else does, which is why it's important to operate as a group. There's power in a group. There's not power in an individual trying to divest from the group. There's no power in that. And some people have to learn that the hard way. And finally, I would just say that I really don't have a problem with white people. If we had come to the United States just like everybody else and had been able to work and live as individuals and not as slaves, I wouldn't have a problem with my child dating and marrying anybody they wanted to. But because of the circumstances that we came here, because of the circumstances that we have lived under, it has all been about our race. And they will lie and say, it's not about race, it's not about race. It was absolutely about race. Black people were the only people in this country enslaved. Black people were the only people that they went looking for to enslave. The Mexicans who are coming over here now across the border illegally claiming that they want a better way of life and they want to work and do all of this, they've been over there all the time. So why didn't they want to come here then when the country really needed workers? But now they're coming here across the border, and even with America, talking about how hard everybody else works. But then they wouldn't go right across the Texas border and get those Mexicans, went all the way to Africa to get black people to come here and work for free. So, this whole idea about it's not about race and it's not about race, that's just a lie. That's just a lie. And it will come back to bite you if you ever try to buy into that. So I would never say, stay away from those snow bunnies. I would give some what I would consider some sound reasons why I would not want my son to marry outside of the African American ethnicity. And then if he, after hearing everything that I had to say, because I would start with this very early in my own family, my mother told my 5 brothers, you bring me some decent black girls, don't bring no white girls up in here. So that's how she felt about it. And she made that clear from the very beginning. And so they all married very nice black women. And I would do the same thing. But at the end of the day, your child's life is your child's life. And after you've given them reasons why you wanted them to stay within your own ethnic group, and they decided that they wanted to go out and do something different, then I would say that's your choice in your life. Understanding that you have defied your parents' wishes, and I think that needs to be put into it too. But if I wanted my child not to marry white women or some other race of women, I wouldn't do it by trying to disrespect those women or put those women down. I would give reasons why I didn't want my son to marry outside of his race and ethnic group. I wouldn't even have a problem with my child, my son, marrying someone from the Caribbean or Africa as long as they were black, because race and skin tone have been a deciding factor in America about how you're going to be treated, whether or not you're going to be able to get a job, whether or not you're going to go to jail for little or nothing, how long you're going to stay in jail for little or nothing, and whether or not you'll be able to vote or get a job once you pay your dues to society for a crime you may or may not have committed. It has all been about skin color, and I don't think any black person should let somebody fool them into thinking that it has never been about skin color, because it's always been about skin color in America. I don't care what they're saying now. It's always been about you being black and them being white. And I just wouldn't want to play into the hands of the white supremacists by trying to integrate and assimilate into their society, which I don't think is fair. And that would be how I would do it. That is exactly how I would do it. But let me know what.
Well, that's her opinion, but which is some truth with that, which I agree. You should agree with it. But I'm going to show you this video.
Elon Musk has bought 6,000 acres of farmland, but he's only one of the 15 known.
Well, we all know Dr. Umar Johnson states a lot of, controversial, statements to a lot of people. A lot of people like Dr. Umar Johnson. I do agree with him on a lot of instances when it comes to politics and some of the things that he say in relation to that. And when he gets to talking about relationships, I can agree with him definitely in a lot of ways. Some I may disagree. But Dr. Umar Johnson, had brought up something that's kind of discussed online, and we know Dr. Umar Johnson likes to talk about snow bunny crisis, and he walks around saying black queens forever, snow bunnies never. But this is a video of Dr. Umar Johnson actually talking about something in relation to that dating dynamic. Now I will say up front, I'm a half agree with him in some things he'll say, and I'll expound on that here in a minute. Let's get rolling.
One of the big differences I notice between black women and white women when it comes to black men. A white woman will look at a black man for his potential. The black woman will look at the black man for what he's able to provide for me at this moment. The white woman is evaluating the black man with an eye to the future. The black woman is evaluating the black man with an eye to the present. And so because of that, the white woman will find a black man who has nothing, but she sees the potential. And she will help him work and build to fulfilling that potential. And a lot of times when we see brothers with these white women, he didn't meet her after he got rich. He met her when he was broke. She built him into the millionaire he is today. Black women need to start finding black men who have potential. and then investing in them. Since you make more money, use it to invest in your husband's dream and potential, so your money is working for him and you at the same time. But this mindset of you need to have the bag when I meet you, come back and find me when you get the bag, you know what the problem with that is? When the man does finally get himself together, the black man, it might be 10 years after he met her. So even though he got it together, he ain't interested in her no more.
So what Dr. Umar Johnson is talking about is basically, if you look at it like investments, you got some people that have a long-term strategy. They believe in the long game. You can call it the tortoise and the hare strategy, where you say, okay, I'm going to go slow and steady, but I know I'm going to have a bigger payoff within 5 years. I'm going to have a bigger payoff in 10 years versus someone that just wants to, let's say you liken it to the get rich quick scheme. You know, I want it right now, right now, right now, right now, right now. That's really what he's talking about in the area, you know, of dating. Now, let's look at the dynamics. When you talk about the black community and you have, you know, what's right now, that modern woman attitude that we see is hypergamy, get the bag, get a man with money, right now, right now, right now. If you see that, I mean, that's kind of permeated within, you know, not just in the black community, but it's kind of through American society. Now, he's talking about, you know, that he say the white woman, but it's just not the white woman. It could be the Hispanic woman as well. It could be the Asian woman. It could be the Arab woman, just women outside of black. A lot of those families still have their two-parent household still intact. So when you have the two-parent household intact, well, this is what Dr. Umar should explain. When you have a father in the household, I'm not saying all black people don't have a father. I'm not saying that. But we know a lot of our children, unfortunately, are raised in single-parent households without a father there. We know this. We know, unfortunately, it's been incentivized. We know it's been popularized. It's okay to be a single mom. You don't need a man, yada, 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 until down the line reality sets in. And I always say this, you can't get away from what God has instituted or what God has created. Anything outside of that is not going to work well. Listen, God created man. He said, look, it's not good for man to be alone, so I'm going to create him a helpmeet. And y'all don't, and a lot of you brothers sitting up here talking about 50-50, that's not even actually the function of the woman according to what God says. He said to help me, to assist you into doing something, not do it for you. Now, since is you doing everything you can, and you may be just falling short a little bit, the help me comes in to help you with that. And it's not just financial, I mean, it's all the way around, right? But that's a conversation of a different day. So, when you have a father in the household, your dad gonna tell you, hey, this is the kind of man you need to get. Oh, see that man right there, Dad, what you think about it? You know what, yeah, he kind of working, you know, that job, but I kind of see potential in it. I see it. And he's a good man. Get with him. You understand? A lot of times those women that come from other communities that had a dad around, it's important that they dad co-sign you. If the dad don't co-sign you, a lot of times it's going to cause a problem. And in other communities, sometimes they're going to have to choose to be a renegade in their family, or they're going to have to say, you know what, my dad don't really cut for you like that. He said that he don't think you're a good person, X, Y, Z. It happens. And to be honest with you, I wish it was like that in the black community, that the black father can say something and the daughter will cut a dude off based off what the father says. And as fathers, I got daughters. I would never tell my daughters, oh, don't be with somebody just because I just don't want them with them. No, it's like if they're a good person or not. Character matters. It's not just because you make money. I don't care if a dude making $1 million a year. If I see he's a piece of crap in his character, his personality, will he respect my daughter? Will he treat her right? Will he honor her? Will he take care of the kids? Will he do everything what's right as a man? No matter how much money a dude make. Your character at the end of the day is more important. Your morals are more important than actually money. Money only going to take you so far, right?
Right.
So in those other groups, a lot of times the father and what he say matters. So if the dad say, hey, yeah, that dude right there, yeah, get with him, we'll support y'all, we'll help him, you know, what does he need, we'll help him, you know, as long as you're married in that family, or they'll help you. So you look up down the line, he, like Dr. Umar talked about, 10 years later, and now, like you said, he got the money. Well, he remember, well, he didn't have nothing when he got with old girl, right? And he looked at the times that maybe she gave him some money to help the business, help him get his licenses or his school or whatever he had to do, and now he got the bag. Now in the community, it looked at, oh, well, look, when they get money, like Dr. Umar talked about, when they get money, oh, look, they just leave and go do that. But the fact is, her old girl was with him 5-10 years, and he didn't have anything. She played the long game. Now, what Dr. Umar said is true, that get with that brother and see that potential in that brother, so you can be on the other side of it, and at the same time do the same thing to help that brother get to where he at. Now, let me preface and say this too, because we don't want to. What I don't like about this video is that he kind of put it like all sisters didn't do that, and that's not true. Because I know people personally, there are sisters out here that have gotten with brothers, and they had potential, and these sisters believed them when they said they wanted to do this and that and the third. These sisters, you know, tried to give them money, help them open up businesses, do all kind of things, and the dude didn't do what he's supposed to do, right? And he ended up leaving anyway. That has happened in some instances, so we can't say all sisters are that way. And some sisters do say, we got to go on both sides of the argument. Some say, well, I've done that with a man, or I've done that with a few men, and I put all my all in it, I helped him, I did this and that and the third, and he didn't turn out to be nothing. So at this point, stage of the game, I don't want a guy that I got to help build up like that. I want a guy that already got it, and then we can just go down and build something together. Which, if you're picking the wrong kind of guys to build with, because listen, some people you picking, it's like throwing your money in the trash can. That guy didn't have the potential from the start. A lot of times, you know, when you love somebody, you blinded to red flags a lot of times.
Yeah.
So a lot of these sisters are blinded to the red flags. But that guy, this is where the fathers come in at. This where the fathers, because those women of other communities are blinded by the red flags too. All y'all are women. It don't matter about nobody's color or culture. The difference is, if that father, and that father was established as a good man, that father was established as a provider, the father, and that father see that man, he'll say, no, that guy, he lazy. He really don't want to do nothing, or he only want to do so much. He don't really want to go up in life where you want to go, baby. You know, you trying to go here, and he only want to go here, and he's fine right here. You don't want a guy to stay here, baby. You want a guy that's going to go up and believe in going to the heavens with you. You understand? That's the difference. The fathers make a difference. That's why I cringe when I see the celebration of single mothers in our community. Oh, she having a baby shower. Okay, where's the dad at? It's just her by herself. She having a baby shower, and we're supporting that. Or you have Sexy Red out here, pregnant as all get out, making songs talking about if her baby daddy, and just promoting that image like that's okay. And notice the people that own and control that music is not part of our community, but yet this image just constantly get put out about black women and black girls, etc., and saying it's okay to be a single mother, and this is how we are left behind as a community.
I want to take you to this couple.
Morning, because we got
I'll show you a little bit of this video. It's kind of long.
So last week I was talking about what God's vision is for humanity, how He created us to be a family, and that fell apart pretty quickly. And then history has been a story of human violence and God's desire to reclaim His family, all the way to the cross. And when Jesus came, He came to fulfill God's original intention that we would live together in love. When Jesus said, as the Father has loved me, so you must love one another. Maybe that doesn't always work out well. It's not always easy. Matter of fact, it's really hard. So on this journey that I've been through in terms of awakening, I would say to the struggles that my brothers and sisters in Christ and fellow human beings have been facing around race, I thought it might be good for us to just have a conversation with a family in our church that I deeply love, that I've known the whole time I've been here. They could tell stories about me, but they've promised not to, right? But they're going to tell some stories about themselves, and I thought you would love to listen, because I honestly think that I can't see the world through anyone else's eyes but my own. And I'm a white male, suburban church. In order for me to understand the life that others live, I got to listen to their stories to see their life through their eyes. And so I want to welcome my friends, the Burtons. I've got 2 generations here, Steve and Jenny Burton, and their beautiful daughter, Kayla. Kayla is a sportscaster out in Western Massachusetts. Steve's a sportscaster with WBZ, and Jenny keeps the whole family from falling apart. So guys, I want to thank you so much for taking the time to spend with me.
Thanks for having us.
Well, you got generations in your family that have been in America, and your dad is in the Patriots Hall of Fame because he was the first draft choice of the Boston Patriots, and he was a black player. You've got a long story of what it means to be an athlete, to be black, to be in professional sports broadcasting. You're an interracial couple, and you face some real challenges with that as well. And Kayla, I know that there's been issues that you've struggled with throughout your life, being both black and coming from an interracial family. So I thought if you'd be okay, we'd have some conversations and just tell some stories.
Sure.
You were actually married at this church in our prior location by Dick Germain.
No, we were married at a different church in Framingham.
Framingham.
Yes, but I can go back in time because I missed my anniversary and she threw me under the bus for that.
Every year, and it's 2 days after my birthday.
Okay. No, that's not why we're here. Okay. But I do remember, because it was a black-white marriage, going back in time, and at that time, I remember I was very close to Jenny's parents.
Okay.
As friends, and we met in college, and we became the best of friends. And her parents would have me over the house all the time.
All the time.
All the time.
And you're both Christians at this.
Both Christians at the time. And then I started to like her. Then we started falling in love, and they had a problem with it. They had a serious problem with it, and I saw them change, and it caught me off guard because I thought I was close to them. And then when we started falling in love, when we started thinking about marriage, I remember having to go and knock on their door to ask for their daughter in marriage.
So you did that even though you knew that her parents were against the relationship. You still went to ask for their blessing.
Yes.
Why would you do that?
Because I wanted.
Bold move, bro.
I wanted to do it correctly, and I prayed about it, and it was one of those things that I wanted to do it the right way. I knew the answer was going to be no, but I still wanted to go to the house. And I remember knocking on the door, and her dad answered the door, and he shut the door in my face. And then the mom came to the door and said, "Come in." And I said, "I think you guys know the reason why I'm here." And he said, "Stop. Don't even go there." And I said, "Well, I came here to tell you that I love your daughter, and I also love you guys. And I'd like to ask for your blessing to marry your daughter." And he said, flat out, "No, you have no chance of marrying my daughter, and if you ever have kids, if that were to happen, we'd never welcome your kids into our house."
Wow.
Ever.
Wow.
And I said, "Well, I just wanted to do my part to come over and ask. I still love you, and I love your daughter." And then I walked out of the house. And one of the things that I had before I went there was a discussion with my parents.
Okay.
And my parents told me to just love them anyway. No matter what they say, love them anyway, because that's how Christ would do it.
That's the key, right? Because a lot of people would say, Steve, you had every right to be angry.
Right.
and to reject them and not even go and to just move on.
Which you can tell because we went around to a lot of black-white marriages, right?
We did. We just wanted to kind of not be naive going into this whole thing, and even as a Christian, I was trying to honor my parents. I was the kid that was the pleaser and did all the things that were right, and so it was a really difficult shift in my role with them to be the one that was defying them. And so we would go around. We went to several couples that were married, and they basically said, don't do it. Like, we haven't talked to our parents, and it's over.
Really?
But they weren't Christians.
Right. And they said the parents would never come around. Don't do it. I'm telling you right now, it's not worth it. Don't do it.
But our approach was different. Like, we sought out Christian counseling, and this was really the first time I feel like, for me, I had to stand up for something in love, but for what was right. I knew their position was not right, but I wanted to love them too and respect them. I wanted to honor them. And we really, it took a lot of self-discipline because very hurtful things were said. Told it would be better if I were a drug addict, among a million other things. And I know Steve used to say, well, I'm not that bad.
Well, maybe I am,
but we really sought out to respond in love. We knew that we said, kind of this phrase, what would Jesus do? Well, he'd love them. But it wasn't like, it's okay what you're saying. Yeah. It's not, but we love you, and we're trying our best to understand, but we're going forward. And that's what we did. We went forward, and I moved out here by myself. They were having nothing to do with our wedding, and my mom came around maybe about 2 or 3 months beforehand. She said, I'm coming without you, which was a big deal.
Without the dad? Without
my father. They were kind of this corporate country club couple, and successful, whatever that means. And then really 3 days before we were getting married, my dad called and said, would you still have me? Can I walk you down the aisle?
Wow.
And
but let me give you a sense of what her dad was like.
Now, I know what you're going to say, and this really doesn't have anything.
Well, I just want to give the image. I want to give Mike the image. I know
I wasn't born yet.
You would know this show.
Yeah,
Mary Tyler Moore.
Yeah.
Ted Knight.
Yeah.
That was her dad.
Yeah.
He was really impressed with the image.
Which is important.
But here's what I loved about her dad. He was very direct. He was very direct. And I remember knocking on that door, and he looked me straight in the eye. He goes, "You're black, and I got a problem with that."
Wow.
And he said that to me point blank. And my answer was, "Mr. Vath, you're right. I am black. God made me that way.
Wow.
But I still love your daughter, and I still love you."
Wow.
It's funny. For a while, we have 4 kids, and for a while, they never knew this part of the story. They just thought everything was awesome all the time when they would go and visit my parents, and then we had a discussion, and we realized that we would be denying them part of their story, because God moved in an incredible way in our relationship and in my relationship with my parents, and that was part of their legacy. And so we wanted them to know that that was their story too.
Because her parents came around.
100%.
And he became
completely
my best friend.
Yeah.
Really?
After that. Because he struggled within. There was nothing he could fight against except for the struggle that he had inside his heart. And it was like, I remember him saying, "I want to hate you, and I can't." And I saw the struggle that he was struggling with. I can't hate you.
He literally said that?
He said that to me. He goes, "I want to hate you, and I can't." Because I was always good to him. And I was always loving him. And it was like, I can't, but I just can't get I had this picture of my daughter getting married, and you weren't a part of that picture.
Yeah.
And I remember him saying, "Your kids will never be welcome to our house," all this and all that. And the irony is, they came 180 degrees.
So Kayla, what was your relationship like with your mom's parents?
Well, the irony is, my mom makes a good point. We had no clue. They would leave us. They were in Florida when we'd go visit them, so we had bathing suits on, gifts, bathing in a pool, and goggles, all the gifts in the world. We thought we loved going to their house because, growing up, because we didn't, I didn't know. And even when we found out, I was shocked because they just loved us so much. Like it didn't even make sense to me because I was like, Nana, pop up, like no, like I was almost thinking they were lying, like they didn't make sense. I was like, yeah, I'm going Nana, pop up. You guys don't make sense. Like she loves me and I'm mixed, and you know what? She likes me more than you guys. Like I don't know.
What? It's the Irish.
But well, you know what? I know my Nana pop up died at a pretty young age, but one of the memories I do really remember was growing up. Obviously, this one over here made us get up, and she did too, playing basketball.
Early in the morning.
Yeah, and we could figure out. He goes, whatever I remember my sister throwing a fit. I'm not playing basketball anymore. And he goes, Kate Kendall, pick whatever you want to do. You can play the trumpet for all I care, but your behind is getting up to work at it. So we ended up playing basketball because we liked it. And I remember crying because that's kind of like what I did when I didn't like to do something growing up. And I was yelling at me, and I was like, I hate this. I don't want to do it. And I was shooting. And my pop-up, he was old and sick at the time, he had cancer, and he was sitting in a chair. And he goes, Kayla, and he goes, come here. And I look at him, and he goes, and I had to make 10 shots, and I made like 7. And he goes, you're gonna make the 10. He goes, your dad's out here rebounding you. You can do it. You're gonna make the 10. You're not leaving until you make the 10. And that to me was, I mean, at that point I was just furious with everyone. But looking back on it, for them to tell me this story, for me to think of where I heard they were at the time and how they were back against the racism in this, and to see how much my pop-up had my dad's back, was just, it's so hard for me to see that, because to hear that story, that's what gives me faith till this day, is seeing how, from hearing about where my Nana and pop-up were at, where their hearts were at the time, and for me to only witness the love for my dad and their relationship and the support, I couldn't even believe it.
That's how I know people can change. People can change if you respond in love. And the irony is, they went from, we'll never allow your kids into our house, to buying a house up in New Hampshire. They lived in Chicago. They had a Florida house, and they bought a house up in New Hampshire just to be closer to the kids.
Wow.
So people can change with love in your heart.
Talk about they never
Jenny,
won.
you said something earlier where you, I don't want to put words in your mouth, but you're just like, when you love someone, you take everything else away from them.
Yeah. As I listened to you talk about my dad and the way that he responded, when we responded in love, then we couldn't give my father anything to come back at us with. Like, he was just left with himself and his own ideas about what was wrong and right, and he wanted to not like you, and he couldn't. And they said such brutal things to him and to me. It would have been even easier to respond in anger and say horrible things back. I think of social media now and those same urges when you see horrible things said in response to a message or something good, and you want to respond back. Like, it's how you protect yourself almost. And we fought that because we were really intentional about loving in response. And once we realized, yeah, this is what we're supposed to do. First of all, it's what we're supposed to do. It's what Jesus would do. It wasn't hard to do that. And the hard part was for my father to sit with himself. And I think if we don't keep equipping people with our nastiness in response, then maybe people have to wrestle with themselves a little bit, and people, to your point, can change.
And it's really where your heart's at.
Yeah.
We discussed this coming over here, is where are people's hearts at?
Right, what's the heart condition?
What's the heart condition?
Right.
What doesn't matter what color you are, it's where's your heart?
Yeah.
What do you mean by that, Kate?
Well, you can say it better than I did, because it's just really checking yourself, because she's white, I'm black, but we still bleed red, right? We all bleed red. But where's the love that you have in your heart? That's really how you overcome all this stuff.
I think, in these times and the way this has been going, one of the things that we've talked about is just a humility of heart in being able to listen. I know, Mike, that we've talked to you, and the shift for you, the shift for me. I've been in a relationship for 38 years with Steve, married for 31, and I still find myself, like you, just kind of humbling myself, listening and learning. Still. And I got 4 kids that I've raised, kids of color. I've got a husband that's black, and I still find myself just humbling my heart, humbling myself, and learning. And our youngest, Veronica, our youngest child, all of these guys, I'm learning from them. Like, we still can learn, no matter how non-racist we are, which, don't get me started on that, but no matter where you come from or how good a Christian you are, and I think there are, people, their hearts are in the right place, many people. But we still need to humble ourselves and humble our hearts and listen to the stories being told.
That's part of the hard. That's the hard part. Is to just listen. Not trying to comment on it or to try to disagree with it. Just hear the story.
Just hear the. So that's how you learn.
Yeah.
That's how you learn.
There's one thing that you mentioned that I want to just add to there that just stumbled upon my mind. We do all bleed red. I hope everyone can get to know Christ. I think that's like the first and foremost thing of all of this. But I also think it's not necessarily we all bleed red, so we all see each other as just like we're all one union, and in a way we definitely are. But I also don't want to miss the part that we're saying, oh, I don't see color because we're all one. No, it's you do see color, and you love that color. Like, you love that I'm mixed. You love that he's black. You love that she's white. Like, I think it boils me and irritates me when someone's like, and it's hard because I know their intentions are in the right place. It's not like, I mean, the people I've come across, their intentions are they're meaning well. They generally are trying to say, like, I accept you for you. I don't see that you're black. And I'm like, well, black's me. I am black. And I'm white. I'm both. I'm mixed. And for you to disacknowledge that because it's uncomfortable is a problem to me. And I think that that's a big problem in the world right now is there's a lot of confusion with that. It's like people feel awkward. I know what my mom has asked us, like, is this okay to say? And she's been having our back since day one when it was really, really difficult. And she still is vouching for us till this day. But asking questions, like even her who's lived with kids of color and marrying you who's black, she's been through that, she's lived with us, and she still has questions, because she technically is not of color. She's not of color. She doesn't know our experiences. But you can still vouch for someone, you can still recognize black people and love that without trying to just disacknowledge it and move forward.
So you've had athletics has been an important part of your family all along. How's the journey been, though, from your dad to you to Kayla? I mean, the experience is 3 generations of athletes here. How's it been?
It's been great. Well, my dad, because he was so big into sports, he taught us that sports brings people together. And when he started the Rumber and Training Village, he goes, I want to bring people of all colors, all races. I don't care who they are. Let's bring them in together. Let's teach them how to love, and let's teach them how to get better. And so we saw people unite, and it's been great for us.
So, but you say sports brings people together. We want to see people of all races unite together, but that wasn't always your dad's experience.
No, it wasn't always my dad's experience. No, it wasn't. I mean, there was times, I think, tell the story already about New Orleans? Oh, I have not. No, it wasn't always my dad's experience. As a matter of fact, when I first played for the Patriots, they had to go down to New Orleans and play an exhibition game. Now, New Orleans didn't have a football team back then, and Billy Sullivan, the owner of the Patriots, goes to my dad, who was the #1 draft pick, and he goes, listen, we need you to come down and play in New Orleans. And but you don't have to go. Here's the problem that you're going to have. You have to stay in a separate hotel from the rest of your teammates. Now, I'm going to leave it up to you whether or not you want to go. I would like for you to go because eventually there's going to be football in New Orleans, and eventually there'll be African American players in New Orleans. And my dad goes, you know what? I'll go. If you want me to go, I'll go. And he went, and I remember he's telling me that the rest of the black players on that his team got angry with him for wanting to go. But because he was the number one draft pick, they followed. And sure enough, if you look at New Orleans now, they got football down there. And but it was one of those things that he had to overcome. And but he had the right mindset. Now a lot of guys just get angry. A lot of guys just go, I'm not going. I can't stay with these guys. There's no way I'm going. And my dad said, does the hotel have a roof? Yes, Ron, the hotel has a roof. Does it have a bed? 4 walls? Yes, there's a bed with 4 walls. He goes, if you want me to go, I'll go. And he goes, I will try and rise above this. It makes
So what motivated your dad to go from an experience where sports did not unite to wanting to make it into something that did unite people?
Because he, in his heart, he was about bringing people together. He was about helping others, and it didn't matter who you were, that if we do it in love, we can bring people together and make this place better.
Wow, that's extraordinary.
That's what he was about. And that passed down to me, and I hope I passed it down to her.
Well, how so? Did it?
You did all right. Yeah, no, it did. I think my experience, running track and then playing basketball, and ultimately just focusing on basketball. It's a mix of black, white. At my high school, predominantly white, and sports is just a release. It's a platform of freedom where I agree with you. I think that it's just a place where you're not thinking about that stuff. You're not thinking about the color of your skin. You're not thinking about even socially, just forget race, even just problems in school. It's just a place where you can just play ball and you don't have to worry about the person you're passing to. Oh, is she white? Is she black? No, you're passing the ball because she's open or she's not. And if you're, petty, that's a different story. But regardless, it is just an area where I love because it was a place where you could just unite and just play.
But on the court would be different than in the class?
I'm going to stop it right there, but you can go check out their video, the guy's video. But I want to show this video. Now, we're going to go opposite.
A CRM shouldn't weigh your budget down. It should
be a single mother, and this is how we are.
Whoops, sorry. Wrong video. Where was that video? Here it is.
Ever thought, from a perspective of a white brother, how an interracial relationship might affect you on your end of the spectrum? But what are some of the personal challenges that you had when going into this interracial relationship? And all, and even ones that some in the past that might have been tough as well, because you did say that you have dated multiple black women. So what are some of the challenges that you saw yourself facing?
Well, I'll say this first. You get it from both sides. You get it from the white community, you get it from the black community. You're not immune to either side. And I would very dare say that there's racists on both sides. I'm in the middle. But trivial things, the stuff I don't really care about. Sonia and I could be at the grocery store. She's right behind me. She has a couple of items in her hand. Checkout lady checks us out. She stops after mine. And I have to say, no, we're together. And they'll give me that quizzical look. And then I'll get that fake smile, and they'll scan our groceries. The other thing, I do not let Sonya drive me anywhere. I drive because the few times that she does drive, because I'm tired, the looks we get from other cars, it's just not comfortable. It's just trivial things like that, and it's trivial enough to where I don't care. I don't care what people think. In the end, it's Sonya and my happiness. That's it. And we try to make good examples, and we will go out of our way to make someone, if they feel uncomfortable, feel really uncomfortable. So, I mean, that's it. I'll be honest with you, I have more good experience than bad.
Yeah.
Okay.
You know?
No.
All of her friends are cool. You know, they're like brothers. So
Okay.
I can't complain.
What I want to do here, I want to do this because I'm gonna be honest. This is such an interesting conversation, man. This is I budgeted an hour for this joint, but when I tell you,
we gotta unfold this thing.
We really could have ran a whole episode on just this topic because it's that dense. But I want to close it out here with this one because we got something very special coming up for the people. Here it's gonna be a great episode, but I can't let Taniko go without hearing your perspective on this, because do you feel personally that you had some unique challenges, because you're 5 years in now in marriage, interracially at this point, were your experiences any different from some of the ones that they fired off, or is it pretty much aligned with some of the things you struggle with?
It's pretty much in line with what Sonya and Jason mentioned. You get it from both sides. I mean, you get the brothers that look at you and feel like you're a disappointment to the community. Sometimes you get the sisters that look at you and says, "Oh, I'm curious." Sometimes I'm still curious about what the sisters are looking. Either they're upset, or they're curious, or I'm not sure. What was your story, your journey? How did you end up this way? So it's really all over the place for me with the sisters. But the brothers, they give straight hate. And yeah, from the white community, my husband gets it as well. And then sometimes you do get the brothers that look at my husband and go, "What are you doing with her?" Like, we get it both. So we do, I'm thankful we have a very strong communication. We try to talk about these things and process them along the way as they're happening, just so it won't innately, ruin our relationship or tear us apart just because, I don't feel like I'm living. Sometimes, like Sonya said, you feel like you live in your relationship for your community, or you feel like you have to date for your community. But when does it become just about me? It's just about me and my happiness. No one else. And my children. No one else. So, yes, we've had some struggles, but that, ups and downs come with any relationships, but you do have a little bit more struggles when you do have an interracial relationship. I get it. You talk about black and white. Yes, so my husband and I talk about it all the time. Yes, we're very heavy into politics, so it comes up. But at the end of the day, we have more good than we have bad.
Now, I want to ask you guys this, because I know sometimes we have philosophies that are most relevant to how we decide we want to live life. But then we have kids and we just have other situations where maybe the philosophy may change a bit. So let me ask you ladies this. When you see a man, okay, he appears, as far as you know, to be an eligible bachelor, okay, or at some point was an eligible bachelor, and he's with a white woman, and he's committed to this white woman. Do you guys feel any type of way about that, or is it the same where, hey, you should be able to find love however you get to it?
I used to. I mean, it's been going on in our community for a long time, brother. Their race for a long time. It's nothing new. It's just when black women started doing it, it became such a big issue. But brothers been doing it from NBA's top executive CEOs. It doesn't matter. You guys get a pass. But when a sister did it, all hell broke loose.
Yes. What are you guys' specific opinions about that? Black men committing to white women.
If you like it, I love it. I have no opinion at all. If you're with that person, that's your business. They make you happy, live your life. It does not affect me at all.
Does not affect me at all as well.
You've always felt that way?
Same opinion I have if I see two black folks together or two whatever together. If you happy, go right ahead.
I'll be honest.
Unhappy, then
That's hard for me to believe. That's hard for me to believe.
Has it always been that way, or did your opinion change as you started to open up, your your mind to dating outside your race?
Good morning, Atlas.
Wow. Wow, that's really interesting. But yeah, that's really a couple short clips here.
You're supposed to be a crazy wild NASCAR person for this audition for the commercial. Okay, show us what you did. And that is exactly what he did.
NASCAR for life, man.
So hopefully we got the job.
We'll let you know.
The thing I wanted to share today is that we now have over 100 subscribers!
So thank you guys to every one of our 101 subscribers.
Thank you!
That's right. And most importantly, guys, we just want you guys to keep reaching for your dreams, and just remember that God loves you, and you guys are important and special. Have a great day.
God bless you. Hey guys, time for prayer. You guys all kneel down? Kneel down for prayer. Kneel down.
Well, it's really interesting looking at these families, but I wanted to show you the aspect of these relationships and how they're growing. And some people are saying that that they believe, some people on here believe that the Most High didn't want races to be together, but for some reason, why is it that you hear over and over testimony that God told them that it was okay to be together, that they prayed, and so they believe in Jesus, and so what's the problem? So what can anybody say? And it's like the one guy said, it all comes down to you have to sit down and listen to people. Most people don't take the time out to listen to people, and I had to do some self-examination myself, because based on my experiences and maybe I try to equate that with some people that there's some opposition, but there's some opposition in life with whatever you do. If you're a single person by yourself, and whether you're a black person, in some cases it depends on, if you're a white person, it depends on your economics, and it could be a whole lot of factors. But what I learned from watching their videos is just that, wow, you see that these couples been married for a long time. So they saying that the statistics that interracial couples don't, but you got couples on. There was with the one couple on there for 30-something years, 38 years. Then there was one couple on there on my previous video was for like 60 years, almost 55 years. So where they're saying that they don't last too long, and this is a black man with a white woman. So where, so you have to see for yourself. But according to the stats and status and stuff like that, that's what they say. But it goes to show you that people have been across America, and definitely they haven't seen enough couples. And here they point on and hear interviews like this on YouTube from both of these platforms. There's a lot of couples out there that are together from different ethnic backgrounds. There was a I might do another video where there was a black female. Her boyfriend's Korean, and one black female, her boyfriend's Japanese. The guy, the black guy, I think his girlfriend is one man I seen. His wife is Guatemalan. Another person I seen. Then I heard like a British interracial couple. So have they taken notice to that? And it looked like these couples been together for a while. There was some couples been together for 10, 12 to 20 to 30 years. So it's funny how someone said the stats say something and tell you, but you still, but no one ever asked the interracial couples which ones have been divorced and how long and what makes their relationship go. And they were brutally honest with what started everything, but they was able to overcome it. And what the key component was, they put the Most High before their relationship through the Son Yeshua, better known as Jesus Christ. That's what made it work. Because you can't, like any relationship, whether it was the same race couple, if you don't have God as your architect of your relationship, it's not going to work. So that's what I noticed about these interracial couples. God brought them together. But yet, someone who was up and said God didn't want two nationalities mixing, two cultures that mix. Who said that? And when clearly you see that the interracial couple were part of the same faith. One, they were faith, so they believe and they have a covenant with Yeshua, Jesus Christ. That's the difference. Now, are there couples out there or interracial that have from two different religions? They probably are. I don't know how long they've been married, but when you say the proper covenant, that's what it came down to. And so the signs are there. The men were there, the women were there to meet each other. And the black guys were there, the ones that they went to a predominantly white church. So apparently the people in the church had no problem with it. Depends on where you go. But you just never know who you're going to love. You never know which is set out to be. And realistically, in America, I don't know why between black and white, everybody think that everybody that look black is going to go with black. Everybody with white going to go with white. Everybody got to think white. Everybody got to think black. Everybody got to be okay with that. And it's not always the case. Everybody come from different backgrounds in America. Regardless in their family structure and where they were raised, and you hear their testimony. And whether you think that, they're trying to be another race, because you have some black people would say that, some silly stuff like that. But you are whatever your product of your environment is. So you can tell by the environment where they came from. That's all what I'm saying. But I had to give you the negative to show you what that people speak so negatively, because they try to. This is to combat what they're saying. So I can show you in this video. Get it from the couples yourself. Hear from the people themselves that are involved in these relationships. Don't just go sit back and assume and start throwing out stats until you talk to the people. You never, like I said, at the end of the day, when we all leave this earth, we came through our mothers from every walks of life, and we're gonna go to the grave of every walks of life. So why does Why do we take time out to worry about that stuff now? And we're going to be judged like every walks of life when we get to heaven. And I don't think it's because of what kind of rituals you didn't do on the so-called rituals or traditions, anything. What was in you? How did you treat human beings? And did you give them? Did you extend kindness? Did you tell them about Yeshua, Mashiach, those who believe in Jesus Christ? That's what is going to be more important. And it's heritage, and it's our team, that's our team, that's your team, whatever. All that stuff ain't going to matter. Because in heaven and hell, in heaven there's all races, in hell there's all races that were once walked this earth, that go back thousands of years. So, who is to say what? And so, just because I've had some bad experiences with other races of people, but even as an individual, I have bad experiences with my own people in certain senses. It may not have been extreme, but sometimes it's not so much about, it's just that some people, it's deeper than that. And there's some people that even in my own extended family don't acknowledge me more than someone of a different race. What people of another race will acknowledge me more than people in my own family, my extended family. They know me, but they don't really take time. And I think we all have that in common. And as a people, as human beings on this planet, and I think any walk, race, or life of individuals can recognize that story. There's people in your family or where you grew up at, and there's some people you don't know that look just like you, or some people that look just like me. And like the women said, when it all they take their time is when can that individual be happy. We not live to. People gonna like you or love you regardless. I've learned this in life. Whether you by yourself, some people, or whether you with somebody, who cares? At the end of the day, the only one's count is the one that keeps you, put the air in your body, and that's the Most High God, and help you throughout this walking this human life. Everybody else don't. The opinion is like a fart in the wind. That's basically what it is. It's a fart in the wind. That's their opinion. And people look at you, well, I look at it this way, people look at me funny when I'm by myself. So what different, or maybe you probably, if you by yourself, someone don't like you. Someone can look like you, of your same race, skin color. I've had it happen. So we try to justify being hateful to another people, but you sometimes you see some of the people that look like you that you go to them, if you let's say for example you black, and you go into a certain part of town, and they don't recognize you from there, they might think that some of us get paranoid, that think someone's trying to set up shop or doing some illegal activity, and that's the truth. You get this from other black people sometimes. So what difference is then you have the people based on their personality that they try to intimidate you with their aggressiveness, assertiveness. And if you don't come off that way, they test you. That's something that goes, if you don't, if you're not loud and boisterous and charismatic, and some people think there's something wrong with you, you're not mentally capable. Black people do this among other black people. And just like any other group of people, they do the same thing. So I come to the conclusion, it ain't kind of that people always going to judge you, but it was important is your family, that the people that the few people that God have around you. That's all what matters. You don't need a whole lot of people to love you, accept you. And I've learned this over time. And so whoever you date, whoever you marry, what's the difference? I mean, either way, you see people making an issue about it online. What's the difference? At the end of the day, and see, a lot of these people making an issue, they're not happy in their marriage. They don't have a relationship with somebody, even of the same race. So how can you sit there and you're not even in a relationship like a Dr. Umar? Why are you worried about and you don't even have a relationship with the woman in your life? Or one might say about why you don't have the black men or men, period. And it could, why is that? Is it something deeper because you resent it because you don't have something, so you build up something so you see something opposite and you get jealousy, envious, and you say hurtful things, and then some people will take the Bible and justify their situation. That's the truth. They would justify their prejudice. And after I think about my personal experience coming to the Lord, you know, when you get to a certain point in life, all that stuff don't matter. When you see people from all walks of life suffering, you see people from all walks of life that God bring your way. When you go into the nursing homes, the jails, the prisons, the streets of America, you ain't got time to be sitting up there and being selective of who black and who white. When you see people in the hospital suffering, in the nursing home suffering, all you see is suffering. You get to the point, you get mentally to that point, you don't care no more. And it's too bad as human beings of every race and walks of life, we don't take time to see that. But we so focused on what some don't have. And why is it should be all over here and all over here. And in a group of people, and we've always been divided that way. And sometimes I think it's just human emotions, but we under an umbrella of a spirit in this country that has moved generation that keep us separately apart. But it is the Most High God that's coming through the country, through these relationships, to mend the relationships back together. Because God knows that there's a spirit of racism on America. But that's why, but his spirit is to come, to kind of shift it through generations, to shift it out. And so you see pockets of it and across America, but it don't mean that everybody is in that place or in that city or in that state or in an individual body that think like the way the people do. And the only reason why people hate and have because they're insecure. And we all going back to one. This is going to be in the future. It's going to be one bloodline, just like it was in the beginning. So, if over 900 different nationalities, you're going back to being one race in the future. There's nothing you can do about it. So stop trying to make people feel inferior. Oh, it's an incident. Look, if you and a few selective other individuals, let that be. Then if you a black person that feel that way, a white person, Hispanic, Asian person, just worry about your race. Worry about get around people that think like you. Stop trying to come at people individuals who don't think like you. Because everybody just because they look similar to you or whatever, doesn't mean that they have the same mindset. The Most High God never designed people, okay, everybody in this race got to think like this race. And if they don't oppose to what I think, there's something wrong with them. So maybe the people who's opposing something like that, maybe they need to grow up. Because if they're when disaster and consequences hit this planet, no one's going to give a darn about that stuff. So maybe if anybody who opposed to it, maybe they should reconsider that. And when we all get to heaven, we don't know who's going to be up there of any. And those who us make it to heaven, and maybe some people that go to hell. Think about it. So you're going to have that bitterness and hatred in your heart. That's what's going to lead you to. So if anything, I hope this message get to somebody and have people think. Just learn to love it, accept somebody. Because deep down in the heart, that's where God knows. Not by the culture, not by the language, not by the color, but by the being that he designed them to be. All right then, take care. See you on the next video. Hope you like and subscribe. Take care, ladies and gentlemen. May you be blessed with this message.